All right, welcome back to The Devil in Detail, the Grendel Reread Podcast. I'm Eli.
I'm Ben. It's our 68th episode. We're doing Grendel Volume 2, number 19, Devil's Eyes, Part 2. It's the conclusion of the all-new Grendel novel. Wow.
Yes, all
the
right.
Famous mixed media fork cover.
Owned by Chris Pitzer, who hopefully
yeah.
will send us a picture of the original art to show right here.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I want to own one of these because moving forward too, like I pulled out next week's too, and they continue with the collage covers, the covers that are like photographed mixed media. So
yeah,
really...
there's a number of very like Sandman-esque Dave McKean type covers throughout the run. Before we get too into it, Eli,
right.
How was your week? Congrats on Love and Grendel's coming out.
Dude,
everyone loved it.
Yeah, super busy week. We didn't record last week, but depending on when you're listening, you won't even notice. But last week I basically just packed up almost every single issue. Right now, there's 3 left. There's only 3 Love and Grendels left. So if you want one, hit us up ASAP. Leave that 5-star review. Share the podcast on Facebook. Email me, Eli at cosmiclionproductions.com. Photos of all that. Follow us on Instagram at Grendelcast. Do all that and email it to me, and then I'll send you the last few. Yeah, because this version will never be printed again. I'm sure we'll print another version with additional stuff, a new cover. This cover will move to the pinup section, and then a new cover will take the place. So I foresee us doing that in the future as we get more interviews, talk to more people, and it's going to be bigger and better.
So look out for the updated and expanded as seen on Netflix version of
oh,
the Zine.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, another cool thing I want to shout out this week. I started working with Brennan Wagner on his website, brennanwagnerart.com. So go there, buy some prints. There's prints there that you can only get there, including some interior mage pages, some of his original Grendel art. All come signed, and you can get them right there. And a bunch of stuff is on sale, $10 for these mage interior prints.
Yeah, you can get consecutive action sequences.
Yes, dude.
Really, really cool.
Yeah, and a lot of other really cool stuff, and just info and just stuff to dig deep and get into Brennan's history. So
he's even selling some of his hand-tied fly fishing flies.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah, he's the only colorist that also sells flies on their website. So
well, you have to diversify your income streams.
Exactly. It's a limited edition run. I'm sure we could get Grendel themed lures if we talk to him, fish or flies. And then also it's the start of Inktober, or whatever Tober you're working on. With the Cartoonist Kayfabe Ringside Seats group, we created Kayfabe-tober, and we've been doing some fun ones. You created Shell-tober, which is pretty awesome.
Shell-tober is studies of Shel Silverstein drawings.
He is really cool. Man, the more I delve into him, the more interesting he becomes. The fact that he would do Playboy cartoons and children's poetry, and he wrote the cover of the Rolling Stone, that song. He wrote these great pot songs in the 60s, and just amazing. When I was in 3rd grade, me and 2 other friends for the class production, we performed "Ickle Me, Pickle Me, Tickle Me Too."
That would be my tattoo.
The ocean blue, really.
I was saying that to my wife. I said I'd get that tattooed.
Oh man, we are so the same person.
On a flying shoe, yeah. It's real.
Oh my god, yeah. Pickle me, and I was tickle me too, and I would be like, tickle me too, and people would laugh. It's great.
Yeah, he's the best. I have a big announcement today for Inktober. I'll tell you right now, since it's already gonna happen. I have organized Sopranos season 1 grand design.
That's right.
And as today is Kayfabe-tober grand design prompt, I'm gonna get some of that together and say, hey, Gabagool heads, come and join me in this fun zine. It's really easy. There's we're doing 1 spread per episode per season, and if we fill up the 13 episode slots of season 1, we'll unlock season 2.
Nice.
In awesome. Celebration of the supposedly lackluster Many Saints of Newark release.
Oh, did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's not great.
It's amazing that his son plays him. That's so cool. I love when that shit happens. Like Ice Cube's kid did that in the NWA movie, I think, right? Yeah. So
yeah, and he's a fantastic little actor. You know?
A fantastic little gabagool.
He's great. He's great. All right,
what
what
type of Ghostbuster? If there's an Italian Ghostbuster, you know what type of ghosts they bust? A gabagool.
Oh, boy. Capacol. All right, cool. Let's see. I finished Oh Fuck Why number 2.
Yes,
I finished a mostly lockdown pass at Laying Out Oh Fuck Why number 3. Next week I'm going to tone Arcane number 3.
Nice.
We're going to get off this podcast and we're going to put the finishing touches on Arcane number 2. Yep. Plus we're going to put together the Cosmic Lion Productions Black Book, which will be front loaded, a catalog in front of. So we're going to be busy.
We're going to be busy. Yeah, we got a day here.
Time is of the essence. Let's Grendel, baby.
Hey. Pew, pew, pew. Cool.
Fast, maybe slow. Yeah. Vivat, Grendel.
It's like the devil is my best friend. Hunter rose with the pen to the fork end, or till time end. Like Orion, Jupiter, my kin, bloodline private. We control the whole shit. The wolf won't beef, then we feast off the rip. Behold the devil in detail. Behold the devil in detail.
All right, we are back. The Devil in Detail returns, and this week we are brought to you by Kinks Mugato Land and Star Trek Lower Decks. Watch Star Trek Lower Decks on Paramount Plus.
My buddy, who's a big Trekkie like you, told me it's really good. And I said,
it's so good. Each episode is better than the last.
I am basically a blank slate with Star Trek TV.
I
could watch any series. I know I can watch any series, and I did a little DS9 a few years ago, and I enjoyed it. And,
nice.
I like Cisco. There's a moment in the pilot where Cisco's having a dream sequence, or he's on a beach and he goes, "Ooh!"
Oh yeah, ooh!
Ow!
Do you realize how incredible this is?
Yeah, he's so actually. Fun. It's actually one of the prophets, the orb of remembrance, takes him into the ether. Yes, I love that because we used to watch those a lot. We had a VHS collection of like all the pilots, like TOS, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine. At that point, that was all that existed. So I would watch them all the time. And there's this thing because the prophets use like his memories to like get information about the human race, and that's why you see him on the beach there, like where he first met his wife. And they're always like, what is this? Tangent. Humans, what is this? Yes. Anyway, speaking of Star Trek and things I love and things that other people love and talking about them, let's shout out some of the great people that left us 5-star reviews, seemingly unprovoked on on iTunes.
There's nothing in it for them.
Not a thing. I mean, they just did it because they love the cast and want free scenes. Anyway, that's the bribes that we've done. Shout out Geek Thulu, who said, "What a great idea for a podcast. I wish I had thought about it myself, actually. Can't wait to get caught up on all the apps." Hell yeah.
That's nice.
Shout out to Gent FX. Keep it coming. I love it. Perfect for the hardest Grendel fan with appearances by Matt Wagner himself. Shout out, Matt. Shout out to Hyper Casey, the Devil's podcast. Eli and Ben keep the spirit of Matt Wagner's Grendel alive with each episode as they continue to stoke the fire for a new generation of Grendel fans. Those of us who grew up during the original Hunter Rose storyline to Christine Spar and beyond never saw anything like it before or since will enjoy the Devil in Detail podcast. Shout out JD80. Great talk about the often overlooked comic book series Grendel. The hosts talk us through the series with detail and insight that fills in the gaps of the series. Creators behind the series pop up during some episodes, providing more information about this amazing series. Thanks, guys. Last one from Dark Monkey God. quite a pleasure to take such a deep dive into a comic series I've loved for quite some time. Thanks. Cool. And there's tons more that we'll get into. We are at 34 ratings. That's huge.
That's really nice. Thank you, everyone who's taken the time to do that. And even if you haven't done that, thanks for listening. We love having you on. We love hearing from you in any way, shape, or form. I got a very nice email from Mark Ackey.
Nice.
Faithful listener. Mark, thanks for looking at my stuff. I appreciate you. Great.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Yeah, a great fan, a big fan. So thanks for that, Mark. All right, so we're getting into Kamiko Grendel number 19, and we pick up with Wiggens chilling out
with these blades.
Oh yeah, dude.
This is probably the biggest wraparound cover reveal in the whole series.
Yeah,
because it's not only is it mixed media, but it's just like it's you get this one, and then you finally open it up, and you really, there's all kinds of stuff. Great use of the airbrush. You can see there's one close dot and one further away on a lot of these, and you really get to see kind of behind the hood on Matt's creative prowess, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and seemingly from what Chris has told us, like there's foil here, there's actual blades.
Yeah,
there's like some nails here. There's like
it looks
wire.
like there's some Hunt 101s in one of these.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dang, Hunter 101.
Hunter 101s. Yeah, there's like nails and all kinds of stuff. And there's one, the second to last one looks like there was a mask that he sprayed over and then he lifted it up. It's just
right.
Really cool.
Yeah. And ripped paper maybe right above that.
Yeah, man.
So cool.
It's very cool. I just got this not an hour ago. I completed my Kamiko run.
Really?
Yeah.
Just this week as well. I needed 2 more issues and I fulfilled my Kamiko run.
Now's the time. They're heating up, baby.
He's heating up. I had this vision too, like because I saw that, like speaking of Lower Decks, the Lower Decks like soundtrack is coming out. And then I was like, oh my God, Grendel's coming. Who's gonna do the score? Who's doing the Grendel score? Will there be a soundtrack? Is there a time in the near future where I will have a Grendel score record spinning on my player over there? God, that'd be amazing.
Maybe when season 6 comes out.
Ooh, season 6, dude. That's gonna be so good.
The fabled season 6.
What's that? Is that you think we're gonna be into Prime by then?
It's just gonna be, it's one of Netflix's biggest shows of all time. Everyone
absolutely.
Yeah. There's new Grendel stuff coming out all the time.
So much new figures,
covers,
new
figures.
Wishful thinking.
Are doing the animated stuff. It's crazy.
God, yep. We've been tapped for the after show.
Yeah, right. This is the after show.
Hey, welcome to the after show. This is Talking Grendel, Talking Devils.
Something that we've never seen before is Wiggens in the Buck.
Oh, he's just chilling.
Which is where he opens up on his beach here.
Oh, it's so great. I want this life for myself. Flying in drinks. Oh my God. Where's that drink, Skinny?
I really love how his note, we can see his note in his notepad, and then that same text seemingly is transposed on the top of the next page.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so yeah, we turn to the next page. Again, he's just chilling. He's like, where did we leave that little shit? And we come in, and like at this point, he does a recap somewhat. And then on the next page, Tommy is, this is a downward spiral of Tommy. And, we get some exposition and some clarification on some Hunter and Argent stuff, but it's like, this is the downward spiral of a human being's.
Yeah. Total paranoia, like decay, degeneracy, nuttiness. I read this. I finished reading this last night in the Dark Horse reprint. And I'm looking at it right now for the first time in Kamiko. It's a mixed bag in terms of which version I prefer. There are some places where Bernie in Dark Horse is elevating it and clarifying it, and there's some places where the production in Dark Horse it like hurts my eyes to look at.
Ooh, damn.
So imagining reading it shrunken down in an omnibus, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's some places in Kamiko where it's much clearer, where it really does capture that. All the tiny gauge screen tone dots, not being moiré makes a difference.
Huge difference.
But some of the analog color just doesn't Some of the overprinting doesn't really work as well as, so it's a pretty mixed bag. But all in all, like you said last night, this is like a great all but forgotten kind of thing. And I think it's funny that the covers are like that they talk about like it's a new novel. It does feel like a novel. I wonder if they thought, oh well, if this takes off, we'll do more of these novel style
little interlude kind of things. I would love that. Yeah. And also this kind of paranoia and locking yourself in the house, it almost like you can almost draw a parallel to like 2020 COVID like paranoias that you could have. So I was like almost reading it like that too, like, oh my gosh, I've been there. Not
for sure.
Not using the toilet and bathroom and stuff, but
I really love this the first panel of Wiggens' story, the like 3-point perspective shot of the building. It's really, really well done. I struggle a lot with that third vanishing point, and I feel like it's one of those things where sometimes using technical perspective drawing, if you do it the right way, it doesn't look right. There's sometimes where things kind of have to be fudged a little bit in order for the illusion to work. I think there might be some of that going on here, but also like, again, this was drawn in a week, and it's not that it shows, but it's just like Matt's creative flow is on display here, but it's also on display in the Mage interlude backup, where there's a lot of different mediums going on, and there's a lot of form, and you can sort of like run your finger across these things and feel them. But if you look closely, you're like, oh, that's colored pencil sitting on top of watercolor or whatever it is.
Right. Like that, like not that this feels rushed, but it's like I said last week, it's like a frenetic pace that lends to the story. But then when you get to the Mage backup, it's just so like perfectly rendered that it provides like almost like the frenetic pace of this works perfectly with the the Mage rendering to make it like a dichotomous piece, or like two things that work off each other.
Yeah, well, that dichotomy happens when Hunter shows up.
True.
And he's drawn in kind of that Rich Rankin Devil by the Deed style. And I think sometimes I get what Matt's going for, the calm, cool, collected stealth Hunter versus like this guy who's lost his mind. So I think in that regard, it works. It's an interesting dichotomy.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I love like, I mean, Tommy's really put a lot of work into this barricade at his front door, where he's got iron bars, axe trap release, an axe, periscope, cinder blocks, bricks, a dresser full of bricks. I love this is like laid out right here.
A real Eagle Scout.
Yeah. And he's just smoking. He's like, just telling you, like, I don't go out. I don't do anything. I'm like very, I've got tons of cartons of cigarettes, and it's just, this is my life. I watch TV.
The Kurtzman shorthand that Matt uses to create symbols of motion, emotion, and form is probably my favorite thing about the Kurtzman aping that he does, is where it's like, oh man, he just like slashes this brush, and I know exactly what kind of fold in fabric or expression or like what the hair is doing. Really, really a lot of fun here.
Yeah, I actually started reading the Jungle Book too in between these last two issues, so I'm getting the feel. That's really an interesting book and storytelling. Like what's the
story?
It's about a detective, and I haven't got super far, and I feel like I keep reading it late at night, but it's like a noir-y kind of like, there's all these like jazz cuts in between where it's like, and so you're like, you get this jazz going in your head while you're reading these like super hip cat like slogans and stuff and words. So it's really fun like that.
Very cool.
Yeah,
he's the best.
Definitely. And so we turn to the next page, and like this continues. Tommy's in front of the TV, and these lines that Matt does too, and the blue here. Yeah. Amazing. Is this one of the pages you were talking about in the Dark Horse that's a little different, or?
What? Yeah, I'd say so. It's this third one where this final panel where he's leaning back in the chair on the TV and his ears sort of highlighted is all in like dark blue with screen tone over it. It's just like hard to look at. It's hard to decipher because it's dark on dark and glossy. That's what it was also as a you know, when the light's reflecting off of it, it's just like you gotta kind of move the paper around to see what's going on. One of my favorite things is the way that Matt is sort of putting shadows in the eyelids with these like
cut pieces of
really, really cool.
And to think and just knowing that he is cutting these tones by hand, and like, you know how he's talked to us before about how he was like using up used pieces and like scraps and stuff. Like I wonder
in the Batman story.
Exactly. Like, was he doing the same kind of thing here, just kind of cutting little pieces and putting them in? Or I'm sure it's very measured as he is that way, but
well, it's I think you lay it on, and you slice it up. I don't know if you like bevel it on. I don't know if you like, you've got to like rub it on, right? So it adheres. So I don't know if you're rubbing it before or after you cut it. I think that maybe you get it on so it's not going anywhere, and then you cut it, and then you once you peel it off, then you mash it on.
Oh,
I don't know. I do it all in Procreate, so
exactly.
I'll never have the pleasure. I did buy a sheet of it once for some project, and I got it home, and it had like dried out or something. Like had
like it was old or something.
It just
they
like
don't really make it anymore, right? Or they do?
I don't know. I think it was a deleter sheet, but it was like maybe I was trying to bevel it, but it was peel off. For the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. So I would like to play with it. Now that I'm doing drawings on paper again.
Oh,
for Sheltober.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'll do it. It's because I found these there are these pens that I really enjoy that are like, they're kind of like brushes, but they're flexible. So Pentel Sign Brush. The one I like is the Pentel Fudnesuke brush. Oh man. I love it. And they're so versatile. You can do anything with them. I'm all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't have that one yet. That's the Rick Lopez brush.
This is the Rick Lopez. Yeah, it's so great.
Rick loves that pen.
Well, they're amazing. Now that he's
that's the tip. Yeah, the fine one that flexes.
Oh my god, I use them nonstop now.
Can you imagine if the crazy thing is like there were all these old masters 50 years ago, mid-century illustration masters, and they're all doing it with tools that are like, not only do we have Procreate and Photoshop and scanners, but like we've got pens that are like basically space age technology, and they're doing it with these steel nibs, and they're so unforgiving, and they're good with that, and they're better than anything we could do, even with those tools. Yeah.
Think about having to like draw and then like dip in ink and then like kind of do all that shit.
I can't do it. Pen and ink. I mean, I don't want to use being left-handed as an excuse. It's only part of my excuse.
Yeah, it's just
like I have never done a pen and ink drawing that didn't get smeared or didn't drop ink on the paper ever in my life. It's miserable.
I still smear with these dang brushes.
Yeah.
Anyway, back in, he's like, I watch TV so much. I didn't know there was so much good stuff on TV.
And he's watching wrestling.
Yeah, it does look like that. And
there's so much good stuff on TV, and it's the same wrestling match.
Yeah, right here later, it's like the same. He reused the panel. Yep.
Kind of fun.
Continuing on the next page, we get a little elucidation about Argent, and we knew he disappeared after this thing. We knew his visits with Stacy declined, but we didn't know that he was like chilling in the sewers.
This is and it's an excerpt from Devil by the Deed.
Mm-hmm. Chapter 26.
It's chapter 26. So this is a long book, a long and storied book.
Oh yeah.
And I think I said this to you last night that structurally, this is my ideal Grendel story.
Yeah.
Because it takes, I think that some of the text that it uses from Devil by the Deed is in the initial story, and then it might like expand another paragraph, which is, talking about the fallout of the Stone Bayou and how humiliated he was, and like there was press at that event, and like the story wasn't about Anson Reynolds. I got 6 pictures coming out. It's all about the wolf like looking like a jackass.
Right. And like it says later too, Grendel knew there was going to be a bunch of press there, and there was not many photos, not a lot known about the wolf yet. And boom, now there is.
Really cool. We'd had New York Times reporting interjecting here previously, and now to have Christine is like, so I don't know where it came up, but like the fact that Devil by the Deed is presented as a true crime novel.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling it to somebody, it's like, it's as if it's a book about Trump or Gotti, someone that you already know in your zeitgeist, and you do a deep dive on them.
Exactly.
Really cool.
And I think playing with people's love of like all this true crime and stuff is really amazing and could be really cool for the show. And will the show then have a framing mechanism with Christine?
I had the same question for you in the shower earlier today.
Yeah.
The exact same question. And it's like, that seems like a really easy and obvious way to sort of front load a transition, but it might be like, it might be too much. And it's like, if they were going to do that, do you think that the casting of Christine would have been announced?
Yeah. But maybe they're keeping it.
So maybe they're keeping it under wraps, but that would be like the ideal way to sort of present.
We open as we pan out from like a fuzzy TV, and it's Donahue, and it's like Donahue talking about it, and then we keep going back, and we like soft focus through the TV, and then we're in this 80s living room, and we see Christine sitting down, and she turns off the
flying
TV.
Car in the background.
Oh my god! And then she's like, "Oh, this is great." And let me tell you a little more. She's like reading it to her son or something like that, and then we like go, "Oh my god, be sick."
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath. I don't think it's going to happen. I would love to see it.
Yeah, that's amazing. If we were making it anyway.
Yeah, right.
All right, should we turn?
Yeah, I think it's about him just like, oh no, it's not ring. Yeah. It's about he's not going out.
But he's got to sneak. He's like eating beans. He's sneaking out to get groceries. We turn the page here to the next spread, but and then he's like calling the cops. He's like, why, I am scared for my life. Why am I not getting this protection that you witness protection or anything? And they just put him on hold.
He's going up through the fire escape, and he realizes that, well, if I can get up here this easily, anyone could do it. And so he spends like the next day and a half fiddling with the bolts and rigging up a booby trap release so that if anyone is on the fire escape, he can pull the thing and it will crash down and they'll be smushed, 3 floors down.
Exactly. And then he's also like, he's getting mail. The mail's piling up, and then he'll find important stuff and he'll like steam it open, look at it, and then close it back up and put it back on the stack.
Yeah, just his bills though.
Just the important stuff.
Yeah, just the important. I mean, how much mail is this guy? He seems like a very lonely guy,
Right. Who is he getting mail from? Publishers Clearinghouse, Columbia House,
Ma Bell.
She's got the ill communication. Anyway, next page, he's back. He's like, he doesn't sleep well. He pops like dozing pills. He sleeps for a couple hours, and then he's like up again. Coffee and cigarettes, like a Jim Jarmusch movie over here. And then we see Hunter and Stacy at home.
Yeah.
There's a communication breakdown beginning.
Grendel had struck his blow, but it was a blow that cut much deeper than the bad press and public humiliation. For what Grendel had actually done was to mar Stacy's illusion of the wolf. Argent had filled a very big special role in her young mind, that of the big, comforting buddy. Not the big, cuddly buddy, but now a comforting buddy. So the text has been changed slightly. But the image of the grotesque, flailing body would never leave her, and a rift began to form between the two of them. The visits grew shorter and eventually less frequent until they finally ceased altogether, following which Stacy entered a period of extreme depression and lassitude.
I had to look up lassitude because remember they were saying melancholy earlier too, and lassitude basically means
it's so funny how sometimes a word or two will just be changed. I've been thinking a lot about how styles constantly change. We're going to have a TV show, and it's not really about like, oh, what's canon and not canon. It's all this legend that mixes together in your mind, so it's all canon. It's like how the Devil's Legacy could be a movie from the future.
Right.
It could be,
Yeah.
So it all this material could already have been remixed in a media machine.
Right. And perhaps when we see the show, it's more based in reality. It's more gritty, and the show is actually what happened. And when we're reading the comics, it's just the unreliable narrator of the books. You know,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's very like deep literary tricks and traps and devices that are all sort of laid within this thing. But there's also werewolves and vampires and zombies, if that's your bag too.
If that's your bag, baby.
You know.
Ahoo, werewolves of New York.
His paranoia takes over, and this is where he becomes like subhuman.
Disgusting, yeah.
Disgusting.
Stops showering, stops bathing. They might hear. He turns off the water.
No, he's filtering for poison.
Right.
I think. Yeah.
Oh my God, he's really getting crazy. Starts putting all his trash in the bathroom, and then he starts, pooping in bags or whatever. And
yeah, I wasn't sure about what he's doing about the poop. He's not. I think he says that he stopped flushing the toilet, but there's only so much non-flushing that you can do before.
Let me relate this story here.
Yeah,
my friends were working on a ski mountain in West Virginia, if you can believe it. It was freezing cold there all the time. Their pipes froze all winter.
Yeah,
we went to visit them, and when you wanted to poop, there was no water in the toilet. So you would have to put a shopping bag in there, do your business, tie that shopping bag up, and take it out to the trash yourself. So in having done that in my own life, this is what I put on. I project
that's what Nuncio is doing.
That's what I'm guessing.
Well, changing diapers 6 times a day. I know what
for
it's
yourself,
like,
which
you've become when I change my diaper.
Just kidding.
It's really we don't want to talk about poopy and pee-pee. I thought this drawing of him spraying himself with the deodorant was very funny because it's like he's like spraying past himself. It's just a very funny drawing.
Yeah. Well, spray deodorant too is a very dated idea.
Right.
Like, did you ever use spray deodorant?
I'm very sensitive to deodorant.
Gotcha.
So I don't use it at all. I need I used Old Spice, like regular Old Spice, for a decade, and then it started irritating me, and now I have to use like a sensitive skin.
Yeah, I do. I use the Arm & Hammer one that doesn't have like the metal or whatever they talk about.
It's the aluminum. Oh, it's a pain in the neck. I remember. I mean, this is like wait.
We can tangent.
I mean, it's a disgusting story. So we'll edit out all this TMI bathroom hygiene stuff.
I ain't editing.
I remember when I started using deodorant as a kid, when I was 12 or whatever it was, I didn't understand I didn't understand.
You didn't really generate the stank yet.
Yeah, and also your sense doesn't develop until you're older.
Yeah.
And my memory is that my first stick of deodorant lasted me until I was for like a year or years.
Yeah. It does for me now too. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
why use it if you're just at home? It's like,
why use it? Why bathe? I mean, why cut your hair?
Why even do any of that? I don't know. Oh yeah.
Great.
Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, I now present Ben's sweet haircut.
New look, Ben.
You all noticed. Next page, man, we just see him again. He's like spraying the bathroom. That's like what he's got to do. He's like living in his own filth and wallow and despair. And like,
horrible.
Even if he wanted any type of respite, the more he closes himself in, the more like destructive his life gets. He created a tent to watch TV in. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
This next one, this is one where Bernie really brings some oomph to it.
Ooh.
Yeah, really, really nice stuff with Bernie.
On this hunter here, or this
on the Nuncio with the TV antenna in the foreground.
Then we get some more Hunter Rose. Hunter made every attempt to cheer his young ward, and here his writings begin to take a slant that is the nearest he ever came to being self-reproachful. Yeah. Note: there was another party to attend tonight. It has been 3 weeks, but her mood remains damp. I saw it in her eyes, a melancholy that I had ever hoped only to eradicate in her life.
One of the themes that I hope we'll talk about more is not only an examination of aggression, but a scale between aggression and compassion. And
Yes.
and it's said not for the first time in this Christine text. This is the only time Hunter has any type of regret or any type of, she's the only object of his compassion.
Right.
And the thought that, in my Grendeling, my Grendeling has affected the only thing that's good in my life. That's pure.
Right.
That's very sad.
It is. Like the cause and effect, the actions that he's taken is that dragon eating its own tail, where you think you're doing something good, but everything is churning the decline
he's in
of your life.
Total control. It's like he's 10 steps ahead of everything, and yet here was this one thing that he didn't, for some reason, anticipate.
Right.
Or that he anticipated it, but it just didn't break the way he expected it to.
Well, also, and I think he would never put that in. He would never suspect that of Stacy. So he never. His one undoing was his only blind spot, and so that's why it was able to grow.
I really love this drawing of Nuncio's landlord. It's so much fun.
Yes, it reminds me much of, because especially in the zine, I found all those old strips, 3-panel strips of Matt from his college newspaper. It reminds me of that early, like super early Matt.
Nuncio's paranoia is that obviously this is one of Grendel's henchmen posing as my landlord. So even when he slams down the stairs, it sounds just like him. But
but it's not
really.
It's like a Mission Impossible style Hunter in one of those plastic masks that he rips off, like Tom Cruise in the movies.
Panel 3 of this page of him peeking around the mattress barricade or whatever it is, or his tent. In Bernie, it uses all the primary colors, and it really sings.
Oh, wow.
Another thing that Bernie does is that he gets color holds on the bloodshot eyeballs.
Ooh.
And so the eyes themselves are the only part of the panel that have any white. And it's another one of the Bernie panels that really, really pops.
Nice. Awesome. And he's just like freaking out more. He's like, he got a crowbar and he's like sitting by the door now, just in case anything comes back. We turn the page. Next day, that very thing happens. It seems as though the landlord called a health inspector because he's like, it stinks. It's disgusting. Like, it very well may be like someone's dead in there and rotting is what it smells like. It's disgusting. And he's like, even though he looks and he comes in there and he looks through his traps and his barricade, it's like, he's like, I still can't do it. I'm not doing it. He knocked over the chair and like he made a noise because he like freaked out because he was like right there. And nah.
The health inspector keeps going. Matt's note at the moment of extreme lunacy, again with the color holds on the bloodshot eyes, is just, it's not even text. It's just it's like a Bernieism for lunacy.
Oh, nice.
Really, really, really nice. And so this is his breaking point. More Bernieisms, very nice, carved with opaque white over the screen tone. Doodads and shark teeth and skulls. And
in which panel are we on?
Panel 4 when he's slamming at the barricade with the crowbar.
Oh yeah, on the next page. Yeah. Yes, totally. But they're in the matte version here with that. So it's a Bernie inspired matte, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. After he wigs out, he falls asleep for 20 hours. He spends all of his energy taking to the barricade with the crowbar.
Yeah, and he like lets his emotion. Yeah.
This panel in Dark Horse reproduced so poorly, like that you can't read the expression on his face.
Damn. Because it's so much tone, it's like all toned.
It's just like it's just smeared. It's really crazy. And then you cut to Hunter in his like Frank Lloyd Wright windows. They look fantastic.
So cool. And he's just kind of sitting there like stewing. You're like, what can I do? And then he's like, oh.
Right. It says
Nuncio.
He had forgotten about Tommy frickin' Nuncio.
Yeah.
Oh, now someone I can, take out my, my frustrations on.
Exactly.
And so Tommy was laying low for no reason.
Right. He could have got out of town. He could have gone to where he was going to go, Connecticut later or whatever. He should have just bounced.
Could have done anything. But Tommy thinks it's been so long.
He's like,
maybe it's safe. Maybe let me go out. Let me do the town.
Yeah, he's gonna go his one meal. He's like, I'll just get breakfast. I'll just get ham and eggs. Get a steak, bro. Treat yourself. You've been inside pooping in bags.
The one of him with the napkin is one of my favorite drawings in this story. It's just like, it just has that mid-century illustration flair, like to the T. I love it.
And the movement, you kind of get the feeling like you get that exact emotion. He's happy. He just ate. He's cleaning his lips. He's like swinging out from the bar at the grocery store, or sorry, at the like, you know, diner. He's sitting at the bar. Perfect.
Tom Vincent, if you look at the difference between Dark Horse and Kimiko on this page of him exiting the grocery store, Tom Vincent throws this like plum color over the absence of screen tone, and it is really confusing in Kimiko. Bernie does a very nice job of kind of letting that just be white so you can see where shadows are being cast and lights being falling on from street lights and stuff.
Interesting. I kind of like the purple because it kind of like it's kind of like the shadow of the person that's following him or whatever is what I viewed it as.
I thought that there was like maybe a hidden Grendel mask in there, but if you look at Kimiko, you'll actually see that where Tom is putting purple is actually left white, so it's things that are illuminating, and it just reads a lot. It reads a lot clearer.
And he's like, he tears home. He's running. He's like, you know, we see a full map. He's gone 4 blocks, crossing the big blocks.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a Ridge Street in Lower Manhattan, in like Financial District. I don't know. I don't want to say there's no Ridge Avenue and look like an asshole, but I think this might be a fictional avenue.
Fictional New York street.
I don't think this is real.
But I mean, this is really interesting. I mean, he gets home, he flies up the fire escape, and then he sits by his trap that he rigged. He's like ready to go. He's freaking out. He is frazzled, and everything that he's feared is like coming to a head. Yeah.
On the map, there's little arrows. That's where he drops his groceries.
Right.
And he says, I don't even remember. Did I have groceries?
Yeah,
he's not anymore.
So frazzled. He's like, God. Okay, so next page. These are just amazing and kind of what became the cover of the Dark Horse collection.
Yeah.
And he's like, then this is a moment of like a mistake that Grendel makes. He's going up the ladder, this fire escape. He's hurt, and he makes a loud enough noise to whereas he is hurt. And it's interesting too, the way that I'm sure these panels were made. It was like drawn once and then blown up because you even see the screen tone bigger.
Yeah, you can see it's a single photocopy.
Yeah.
If you look at the little shadow, the thing that I looked at was the little shadow under his collar. It almost looks like the letter A.
Or a Star Trek Delta.
This is really interesting. The difference between Kimiko and Dark Horse. Bernie brings, first of all, in Kimiko, Tom Vincent takes it from like pink to yellow, but Bernie goes from yellow to pure red. So the intensity, the value intensity makes a lot more sense for storytelling. But then Bernie brings this digital shadowing on the eyes. I got to tell you, like the combination between analog and digital aesthetics there really works quite well. And that's something that I play with in my own work because I use that debaser to try to do like the faux 4-color process. But then there's all kinds of digital fuckery going on. And for my money, like we live in this digital world where everything is in the sandbox. And so mixing the two together is a fun postmodern kind of thing to do.
Yeah. And can produce these interesting results that maybe sometimes you didn't even think from the start, you know.
I think that this spread here of the freak out and then the lever pull is actually one of Bernie's finer moments here. You were saying that maybe Tom Vincent was also under the gun, but I think maybe it was just like the direction was go minimal, go small.
Right.
And, I think that Bernie is able to just do a lot more with the color
Right. And you know, like we're saying, he had access to the digital coloring techniques that weren't available in the Kimiko yet.
Yeah. This one of him sitting in the puddle of his own piss, it just looks better in Dark Horse for some reason.
Yeah.
You know, even though the moire, it's the moire on the screen tone is so intense that you can't see dots.
Oh wow.
At all. But
they're
it's
so
just,
small in Kimiko.
They're so, yeah, it's almost like, you know, I don't think, I'd be curious if Matt ever used this screen anywhere else. Right. When I think about screen tone, for me, a part of it is actually being able to see those dots. You know, that pattern has a flavor unto itself, as opposed to saying, oh, let's make it gray. And I think that one thing that you can do is you can juxtapose, using screen tone, it helps you juxtapose the mechanical against the organic of your hand. So even if your hand is shaky or not doing exactly what it needs to be, Mahfoud is a wonderful example of this, because there's so much chaos and flavor and verve in every single line that he makes as he sort of shifts his grip on those chisels or whatever tools he's using. And then when he lays the screen tone next to it, it just pops really, really hard because of those two flavors sitting next to each other.
Agreed. So here he's fearfully, he pulls that cord, crash, boom, bang, slam, and it's just like he pulls the trap, he pisses himself, and then he goes to like grab at the window and see like what's happened. He turns, and we turn the page, and he did it. I mean, we've got this Stedman-esque freak out, eye pop, and there's Grendel hanging there by the fork. And Tommy's like, he's like, holy shit. You know, all of this fear is immediately realized in 1 second as he fucking blasts out through the door. He rigs some charges. He blows his barricade out and he runs. He runs, man. He's with to the next page. He's got stink lines coming behind him, and then he freaking road runners out. Oh, that's true.
Yeah, the road runner is really fun. I love the foot that's at the bottom where you're going to see it totally distorted. I want to go back to the hanging and just say Bernie kills it. Like the Kimiko, it reminds me of just like what I didn't like about like DC Comics when I was a kid. Like they all looked like this, like brown and orange, and Bernie just like it just works so much better. This is again where we're talking about like the Kurtzman next to the Rich Rankin, where it's like the buttery smooth like Grendel realism next to these like super distorted mania drawings. Really a lot of fun.
So good, so then he rips out, he's down to the street, and then you know Hunter jumps down onto the top of the cab. We turn the page and we see Hunter using the fork to hold on to the top of the cab, and Nuncio has no idea. He just like haul it. And he goes to Grand Central, where he has some clothing in a suitcase stashed in a car that's been sitting there.
Yeah. So I was just at Grand Central an hour ago.
Really? Were you like, where are these lockers at?
This is a fictional layout, unless this is Midtown Manhattan. There's no like junked out car that's been sitting there for 5 years.
Right.
You know, so that's fine. I really like this drawing of him hanging. Like you said, it reminds me of remember the cabbie that he murders for info on Bernie Jean in Double by the Deed? Yeah, it's like the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
And like the cabbie in Stan Sakai's Black, White, and Red story. So here he goes, and it's just really cool as we see like Hunter following him. He jumps from the top of the car like up to the sign, Jimmy Frank's Steakhouse. And then he's running across these awnings and stuff as he goes in. And then Grendel jumps down on the next page and smashes him right as right as Tommy Nuncio is like thinking he's in the clear. And then boom, just like everything, he's groggy, he's seeing stars. And
yeah, again, Bernie kills it. And I think a lot of it is Bernie using the 3 primary colors. So on those Bernie-isms, they all have different primary colors. And then on the one where Hunter's falling in the foreground, you got yellow on the take, The figure is red, the background is blue. It really, really sings. Quite nice.
It goes great.
That's it.
That's it. And
he's
then
dead. And then he puts him in the
then,
trunk.
Boom. Yep. Puts him in the same very trunk he had his own. He had his sweet little suitcase in, and that's it. Yeah. He is found with a large bloody G carved in his stomach,
as is the MO.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. In Devil by the Deed, do they talk about him carving G's in people's bodies?
I think so, because he carves them in heads. He carves them in chests.
I'm not sure if it happens. If it happens in BW&R in the anthologies, I mean, all the time. I think that one thing
definitely happens in Black, White, and Red more so. And I think Matt even said that was something he got off of Zorro, which is obviously Zorro carving
right.
Z's.
Oh yeah, very very Zorro. Yeah. Anyway, so Wiggens, Tom Vincent kills it on this last page.
Oh my God, so cool.
You know, you really really feel the sunset. Bernie's got a lot of airbrush going on. It looks like maybe some of the duo shade didn't transfer into Dark Horse. But Bernie does kind of more of he does something different. I don't know. But like this one up here with the profile.
Oh yeah.
Really, really atmospheric. Mm-hmm. And Wiggens is happy. That one will make a mint. So he's just like that's my lifestyle. Yarn. I got my pension and I got my book deal.
Oh yeah. He's loving it. Anything else he can do? He's like about to go for a dip. He's like, just make sure I got a fresh drink when we're done.
I would love to see the return of Locucius Bradley, that he's working with Wiggens.
Oh man, as an older man, his final project.
Well, maybe they're in Jamaica, right? Didn't Kush? Maybe he's leading Burrow.
Oh, he left. Yeah, no, I thought that was Mexico or something. He went. Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that's where he is. So this is great. He's in the buck, and he just wants another drink. And Skinny the Robot will have it coming up in a minute.
Mm-hmm. Love it, of course, sir. Man, what a yarn. And then we get to the interlude, which is just kind of nonstop action. It's interesting. Someone pointed out in the comments on Facebook that it may have been that the last 2 pages of the thing were flipped, because you see him get kicked by the horse, but he's already on the ground or something like that. So in the previous issue, someone raised the question, like maybe the last 2 pages were
page printed out of order.
Yeah,
that could be. I think one of the reasons we didn't talk about one of them was because there might have been some clarity issue and we just weren't sure about it.
Yeah,
this
one is great. Yeah, it's all action. He gets kicked by the horse, he jumps up on top of it, and then we get this amazing splash, beautiful splash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my favorite thing about this is how there's a light source coming from the moon, and then there's light coming from the bat.
Yeah,
and you can see it. I guess it's on this one where he's winding up right here. So what's happening is that the brightest light is coming from the bat, and then the darkest shadow is sitting right next to that, and that's what separates the 2 light sources.
Oh yeah,
it's one of those things that's like when you see it, it's like easier said than done. Oh, that's what he's doing, and then you try to do it, it's like impossible.
We could not do that. Yeah, on the next page too, then he is on top of the horse. He jumps off and then cuts it in half and then cuts the head off. And then, that's it. And he's like, are you hurt? Parlez-vous Anglais? And then that's it. He's like, go home. Go tell your mother she missed you.
That's nice.
Yeah.
This, we were talking about how, like, you could do, it's sort of surprising that there isn't like a Wiggens trade, like a Devil Tales Wiggens trade where it's A1, these last 4 issues, and then the next issue. You said you skipped ahead to next week's.
Right, yeah. Wiggens opens
20.
up the next issue too, yeah.
And that's sort of his like publishing world downfall.
Yeah.
It's a nice little cap to Wiggens. It's funny because like with the exception of the A1 story, there isn't much in terms of character for Wiggens. He's Argent's lapdog where he gets the straight poop on these stories. Right. And then he kills BLS. But there's not really any character.
Yeah, but it's just a very unlikely person to follow for 5 issues too, which is part of the intrigue, I think, for him. Yeah.
Oh, also in my completion of the Kamiko run, COP as an acronym Confederacy of Police.
Ah, interesting.
There's that close-up of Pell and Cross's badge.
His badge on one of the issues.
And that's what it says there, Confederacy of Police, which is quite
Yes.
interesting, quite menacing.
Yeah, man. I mean, we are really in for a treat in the next few issues. Like, you know, it really is going to start spanning like hundreds of years. You know, in the intro to the next issue, he's like, in the next few issues, we're going to span 400 years, and we're going to really jump forward, getting into the Epi Thatcher stuff and the downfall of any recognizable world we know. So we're really in for a treat.
There's an off-panel nuclear holocaust.
Yes.
That goes on, which is quite.
This is fine. Yada yada yada. Nuclear holocaust.
Yeah. That's what it is. It really is. I mean, it is scripted as the yada yada yadas.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And the other thing is that we are, as of next week, we will be halfway through the Kimiko run.
Oh, that's right.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. It's insane.
And also, did we just wrap up the second omnibus? So we're basically a third.
That's right.
Third of the way through the meat of the story, not counting the Netflix coverage.
And then, dude, once we start getting into Grendel tales and stuff, whew, then in a couple years when we finish all of Grendel, what are we gonna do? Go back and start Mage?
Yeah. Well, Diana said that she would happily listen to a 300 episode Cerebus podcast.
Oh, that's true.
How about 16 episodes and Diana has to be a co-host?
Hey, all right. The what's the thing has been thrown? The
gauntlet.
Gauntlet hasn't. You're not gonna throw the gauntlet? No.
I don't really want it. I mean, I don't really want to do it.
I've never even read. I've read maybe one issue, so it would be all new to me.
It's a landmine. It's just a landmine.
It's a landmine.
It's really good, but I do think that like 300 episodes is too much. But it's 16 phone books, so we could do 16 phone books. But I'd want Diana to be on the show.
Well, let's just continue with the Grendel coverage.
Let's do Grendel first.
Let's do Grendel and then we'll see where we're at when it's all over. Because hey, we might be having seasons of the TV show that keep us going.
Yeah, season 6 of the TV show.
It's gonna be
that's
great.
the one I'm looking forward to.
Oh man, and then the feature film that's gonna come out, and oof, it's gonna be great.
And the Mage Netflix show that will follow.
That's gonna follow, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Or maybe Mage will be at Pixar.
The Black, White, and Red animated shorts collection, much like the new Star Wars thing that came out, or the Animatrix, that's gonna be awesome.
The rest is gravy.
Gravy. All right. Until next time, Vivat, Grendel, and keep on Grendelin'.